He's not on Instagram. He doesn't wear luxury watches. He doesn't trade crypto. And he certainly doesn't chase the latest trend. In fact, if you passed him on the street, you might not look twice. Old suit, simple car. McDonald's in one hand, Coca-Cola in the other. And yet, he's one of the richest people on earth, Warren Buffett. Born in the Great Depression, built his fortune over decades, and became a global icon not because he was loud, but because he was right. While the world rushed to get rich quick, Buffett got rich slow. While others chased secrets, he mastered simplicity, and while most people made money, lost it, made it again. Buffett did one thing better than anyone else. He kept it. This is not a story of a tech genius, not a rags to riches overnight success. This is the story of a man who used ordinary tools in an extraordinary way. Clarity, discipline, time, no shortcuts, no gimmicks, just timeless principles applied patiently and relentlessly. And that's why this message matters. Because in a world obsessed with hacks and hustle, we've forgotten the power of wisdom. We scroll endlessly. We chase fast money. We confuse noise with success. But Warren Buffett shows us another way, a quieter path, a steadier one, and maybe a much richer one. So in the next few minutes, let's walk that path together. Let's explore how Warren Buffett built his wealth, how he thinks, how he lives, and what his journey can teach you, not just about money, but about life. Part 1. The early seeds of wealth. Warren Buffett was not born into wealth. He was born in 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska, during the depths of the Great Depression. His father was a stockbroker, his mother a homemaker. Money was scarce. Fear was everywhere. Yet in that uncertain world, young Warren discovered something extraordinary, an obsession. Not with toys, not with sports, but with numbers, profit margins, and the mysterious dance of dollars in motion. At 6 years old, he bought packs of gum from his grandfather's grocery store and sold them door to door, one piece at a time. By the age of 7, he had already read a book that would change his life forever. It was called 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000. It lit a fire in him. He wasn't just interested in money. He was fascinated by how it moved, multiplied, and could be managed wisely. At 11, he made his first investment. He bought 3 shares of Citi Service stock at $38 a share. The price dropped to $27. He panicked, but waited. Eventually, it rose to $40. He sold, and then watched in disbelief as it soared to over $200. That early lesson taught him something he would never forget. Patience pays more than panic. By 13, he was filing tax returns. By 15, he owned pinball machines in multiple barber shops. By 16, he had made more money than most adults in his neighborhood. But his success wasn't luck. It wasn't privilege. It was clarity. While other kids were memorizing sports stats, Warren was memorizing stock quotes. While his friends were dreaming about prom, he was dreaming about portfolios. While others chased trends, he was mastering timeless principles. And yet, perhaps the most astonishing thing is this: Warren wasn't the most social. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He was simply focused. He once said, "I always knew I was going to be rich." I don't think I ever doubted it for a minute, not because of arrogance, but because he trusted the process. He trusted time. And he trusted himself. After graduating college, he studied under Benjamin Graham at Columbia University, the father of value investing. Graham taught him that stocks were not lottery tickets. They were pieces of real businesses, and real businesses had value, regardless of market mood swings. Buffett absorbed every word. But then he made it his own. He refined Graham's method. He softened the rules. He looked not just for cheap companies, but for great companies at good prices. And from that seed, a forest of wealth would grow. This early chapter of Buffett's life is more than a story. It is a blueprint. It shows us that greatness often begins quietly, not in boardrooms but in small bedrooms with open books, not with luck, but with obsession, not with connections but with clarity. If you want to build wealth like Warren Buffett, start the way he did. Learn early, think long, ignore noise, trust the math, and above all, be patient. Because sometimes the greatest fortunes come from the smallest beginnings, watered by curiosity and grown through years of unwavering focus. Part 2. The power of simple thinking. What makes Warren Buffett different is not complexity, it's simplicity. In an age of algorithmic trading, crypto speculation, and TikTok finance tips, Buffett wins with a pencil, a yellow notepad, and a timeless question: do I understand this business well enough to own it for 10 years, even if I couldn't sell it? That question filters out hype. It filters out fear. It forces clarity. Because Buffett doesn't buy stocks, he buys businesses. He once explained, if you're not willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. This approach may sound boring, but it's quietly revolutionary. He doesn't chase the next hot IPO. He doesn't read headlines for investing clues. He reads annual reports. He studies business models. He evaluates leadership teams. And most of all, he looks for economic moats. An economic moat is a long-term advantage that keeps competitors at bay. Think of Coca-Cola's brand, Apple's ecosystem, Amazon's logistics. These are not just companies, they are fortresses. Buffett wants companies with strong returns, low debt, ethical leadership, and a clear, defendable edge. Not for a year, not for a quarter, or for decades. When he invested in American Express in the 1960s, the company was in trouble. A scandal had shaken investor confidence, but Buffett saw something others didn't. He saw a brand people trusted, a service people depended on, and a management team willing to fix mistakes. So while others fled in fear, Buffett invested millions. Today, that investment is worth billions. That's what simple thinking can do. While the world looks for complexity, Buffett looks for clarity. While others try to be clever, he tries to be clear. And while most investors are trying to predict what's next, Buffett focuses on what lasts. He once said, "You don't need to be a genius to be a great investor. You just need a temperament that neither derives great pleasure from being with the crowd nor against it." That's key, because simple thinking isn't just about analysis. It's about emotional discipline. Can you ignore a market crash without panicking? Can you stay invested when everyone else is selling? Can you skip a shiny opportunity because you don't fully understand it? That's the Buffett mindset. It's not reactive. It's intentional. And it gives you something most investors never have: peace of mind. You're not guessing. You're not hoping. You're not chasing. You're owning something real. You're holding it for a reason. And you're letting time do the heavy lifting. That's simple thinking. Not because it's easy, but because it cuts through noise and focuses on what truly matters. In life, just like in investing, complexity can become a trap. We think the more complicated the strategy, the better the result. But Buffett proves the opposite. Simplicity, paired with deep understanding, is far more powerful. So ask yourself, do you really understand where your money is going? Are you buying because it makes sense, or because it's trending? Are you investing with clarity or confusion? Because the path to long-term wealth isn't hidden in secrets. It's found in timeless truths. And Buffett's greatest truth is this: buy what you understand, hold it with conviction, and let the rest of the world chase noise while you build wealth in silence. Part 3. Compounding the Eighth Wonder. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire in his 20s. He didn't hit the jackpot with one lucky investment. He didn't build his empire overnight. In fact, if you look at the charts of his net worth, something curious happens. Almost nothing happens for decades. And then suddenly, everything happens. Between the age of 10 and 30, Buffett's wealth was modest. By 40, he was doing well. By 50, he was rich. But after 60, his wealth exploded. Why? One word: compounding. Albert Einstein is often credited with saying, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." Buffett understood it better than anyone else alive, but not just as a mathematical principle. He understood it as a philosophy of life. Let's break it down. Imagine you invest $1,000 at 10% annual return. In 1 year, you have 1,100. In 5 years, you have over 1,600. In 30 years, without adding a single dollar, you have over 17,000. The secret isn't in the first few years. It's in the quiet, consistent accumulation over time. That's how compounding works. Not with flash, not with speed, but with unwavering consistency. Buffett didn't just apply this to money. He applied it to knowledge, to relationships, to trust, discipline. He once said, That's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. He reads for hours each day. He writes, he thinks, he listens. Every bit of knowledge adds up. Not dramatically at first, but unmistakably over time. He invests the same way. He doesn't sell just because the market dips. He doesn't panic when headlines scream. He doesn't cash out to celebrate a gain. He stays in, and by staying in, he lets the flywheel turn. There's a story Buffett often tells about planting trees. You don't plant a tree and check every day to see if it's grown. You plant it, water it, protect it. Then one day it gives you shade. It gives you fruit. And if you're patient enough, it gives you a forest. That's what compounding is. A forest grown from faith in slow growth. But here's the tragedy. Most people interrupt the process. They chase higher returns. They jump in and out. They withdraw at the first sign of fear. And every time they do that, they kill the compounding engine. Buffett avoids that trap. He doesn't try to double his money overnight. He's trying to double it over decades. There's another lesson here. The longer you stay consistent, the more your past work starts working for you. Your money starts earning money. Your habits start reinforcing themselves. Your relationships start compounding trust. Your learning starts generating deeper insight. That's the hidden magic behind Buffett's success. He wasn't trying to be spectacular. He was trying to be predictable. And that predictability, when multiplied by time, created something far greater than luck ever could. He once said, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." The same is true of wealth. You won't see much in the beginning. It'll feel slow, ordinary, unimpressive. But if you keep showing up, something extraordinary will emerge. So how do you use this? Start small. Stay consistent. Let time be your partner. Don't interrupt the process. Don't seek excitement. Seek endurance. Because wealth that lasts isn't built fast. It's built quietly by those who understand the true power of patience. Part 4. Avoiding stupidity is smarter than chasing brilliance. Most people try to win by being brilliant. Warren Buffett wins by not being stupid. That may sound harsh, but it's exactly how he sees the game of investing and life. He once said, "The first rule of investment is don't lose money. The second rule is don't forget the first rule." This mindset sounds simple, but it is radically different from how most people operate. In today's world, we glorify risk. We idolize those who bet big, fail fast, and swing for the fences. But Buffett doesn't swing wildly. He waits, he watches, he protects. Because he knows it's easier to avoid big mistakes than to recover from them. His longtime partner, Charlie Munger, put it even more bluntly, "All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I never go there." Buffett took that idea and made it a principle. He avoids what he doesn't understand. He avoids leverage. He avoids hype. And above all, he avoids emotional decision-making. That's rare. Most investors follow the crowd. They jump into hot stocks. They get greedy in bull markets and fearful in crashes. They trade based on headlines, rumors, and FOMO. Buffett does the opposite. When others are euphoric, he gets cautious. When others panic, he gets curious. He once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful." But let's be clear, that doesn't mean he chases chaos. It means he waits for clarity while others are blinded by emotion. Take the dot-com boom of the late 1990s. While the world poured billions into internet startups with no profits, Buffett stayed out. People mocked him. They said he was outdated. They called him out of touch. But when the bubble burst and trillions were lost, Buffett hadn't lost a dollar. Because he never chased brilliance. He protected his downside. There's a powerful lesson here. You don't have to be right all the time. You just have to avoid being fatally wrong. Think of it like flying a plane. Pilots don't need to fly in perfect conditions. They just need to avoid storms, engine failures, and running out of fuel. Buffett treats investing the same way. He doesn't try to predict the top. He doesn't try to time the bottom. He just stays in the air safely for as long as possible. And over time, that discipline compounds into greatness. In fact, one of the things Buffett says most often is this: we don't have to be smarter than the rest. We have to be more disciplined than the rest. Discipline doesn't make headlines, but it builds empires. While others bet everything on one trade, Buffett focuses on survival. He once said, "It's insane to risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need." Let that sink in. Most financial disasters don't come from lack of intelligence. They come from ignoring limits, overconfidence, greed. Buffett stays humble. He stays cautious. And that caution is why he's been at the top for over 70 years. So how do you apply this? Simple. Don't try to be a genius. Just avoid being reckless. Say no to things you don't understand. Avoid high-interest debt. Don't borrow to invest. Build an emergency fund. Keep cash on hand. And never bet your future on one swing. In life, just like in investing, staying in the game is more important than playing it perfectly. Success is not about having all the right answers. It's about protecting yourself from the wrong ones. Part 5. How Buffett lives wealth in simplicity. If you didn't know who he was, you probably wouldn't notice him. No entourage, no designer watches, no social media stunts. Warren Buffett walks into McDonald's, orders breakfast with exact change, and drives himself to work in a modest Cadillac. He still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. No mansion, no marble floors, no ocean view. Just a comfortable home in Omaha, quiet, practical, and paid off long ago. Why? Because for Buffett, wealth isn't about appearances. It's about freedom. He once said, "If you buy things you don't need, you'll soon have to sell things you do need." Buffett could afford yachts, jets, and multiple estates, but he doesn't want them. Not because he's frugal, but because he's focused. He doesn't want distractions. He doesn't want clutter. He wants peace. And peace comes from living below your means, not beyond them. Buffett's daily routine is a masterclass in simplicity. He wakes up early, reads for hours, eats what he enjoys, works on what matters, spends time with people he trusts, and avoids anything that adds unnecessary stress. His diet? Mostly Coca-Cola, ice cream, and McDonald's. His wardrobe? Basic suits and simple ties. His social calendar? Sparse. To most people, that sounds boring. But to Buffett, it's perfect. He doesn't need to impress anyone. He doesn't need validation, because his identity isn't tied to consumption. It's tied to discipline. He once explained, "My life couldn't be happier. In fact, it would be worse if I had 6 houses and a yacht." That's not humility. That's clarity. In a culture obsessed with more, Buffett teaches the value of enough. Enough comfort, enough security, enough margin to live life on your terms. This isn't just about lifestyle, it's a financial philosophy. Most people go broke trying to look rich. Buffett got rich by never needing to look that way. He understands that every unnecessary dollar spent is a dollar that loses the chance to compound, and every dollar that compounds quietly, consistently, moves you closer to freedom. Here's the irony. Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, lives more simply than many people making $60,000 a year. Not because he can't spend more, but because he doesn't want to. He sees through the illusion. Luxury doesn't equal happiness. Impressing others doesn't equal peace. And chasing more doesn't always lead to better. Instead, he teaches this: if you want to be truly wealthy, don't just earn more. Need less. Live simply. Think clearly. Avoid status games. And let your money serve your life, not the other way around. Because in the end, real wealth is not measured by what you buy. It's measured by what you no longer feel pressured to prove. Part 6. 5 Buffett lessons you can use today. Warren Buffett's wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about principles. And unlike market trends or hot stock tips, principles don't expire. They get stronger with time. Here are 5 of Buffett's most powerful lessons and how you can apply them right now, no matter how much you earn. Lesson 1. Live below your means. Buffett doesn't spend because he can. He spends based on what he values. He once said, "Do not save what is left after spending. Spend what is left after saving." That small shift makes a massive difference. Most people adjust their lifestyle upward with every raise. New income means new expenses, bigger houses, better cars, more debt. But Buffett did the opposite. He built wealth by staying grounded. Even when he became a billionaire, he lived like a middle-class man, because he understood financial freedom doesn't come from income. It comes from discipline. If you consistently live on less than you earn, you create margin. And that margin becomes your engine of wealth. Lesson 2. Invest in yourself. Buffett says the most important investment you'll ever make isn't in the market. It's in you, your skills, your mindset, your ability to think clearly and communicate effectively. He once told a group of students, the best asset is your own self. You can become to an enormous degree the person you want to be. That starts with learning. Buffett reads 5 to 6 hours a day. Books, newspapers, annual reports. He's always learning. Because he knows the world changes fast, and those who don't adapt fall behind. You don't need a PhD, but you do need curiosity. Read, ask questions, listen more than you speak, and upgrade your thinking just like you would upgrade your software. Lesson 3. Think long-term. Buffett doesn't chase quick wins. He plays the long game. He once said, "Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." That's how he sees every dollar invested, not as a quick flip, but as a seed. He buys great businesses, not for weeks, but for decades. That mindset gives him an edge. He's not rattled by market dips. He's not excited by spikes. He stays focused on the fundamentals. You can apply this too. Stop checking your portfolio every day. Stop reacting to headlines. Start building for 5, 10, or 20 years from now. Because real wealth isn't built in a moment. It's built through quiet, persistent patience. Lesson 4. Choose the right people. Buffett's success is inseparable from his relationship with Charlie Munger. Two men, different styles, one shared mindset. They challenge each other, they laugh, they think long-term, and they value integrity more than intelligence. Buffett once said, "You can't make a good deal with a bad person." In life and in business, the people around you shape your future. If you surround yourself with those who take shortcuts, seek hype, and live for appearances, you'll drift in that direction. But if you surround yourself with those who think clearly, act with discipline, and stay humble, you'll grow in ways money can't measure. So choose carefully. Your partners, friends, mentors, and team matter more than you think. Lesson 5. Know what enough means. In a world of endless ambition, Buffett is grounded by contentment. He doesn't chase every dollar. He doesn't need every deal. He knows what enough looks like. He once walked away from a billion-dollar opportunity because it didn't align with his principles. That's rare. Most people chase more without asking, "What am I chasing for?" Buffett reminds us that enough isn't just a number. It's a feeling. It's a choice. It's the moment when you stop trying to impress and start enjoying what you've already earned. Without knowing your enough, you'll always feel behind no matter how much you gain. But when you define it, you reclaim your peace. These 5 lessons are not just tips. They are anchors. In a noisy world, they help you stay calm. In a fast world, they help you slow down. And in a greedy world, they help you grow with grace. Live below your means. Invest in yourself. Think long-term. Surround yourself wisely. And define your enough. Do that and you're not just following Warren Buffett. You're following wisdom. Part 7. Buffett's Real Legacy. A Philosophy of Life. Warren Buffett's legacy won't just be measured in billions. It will be measured in how many minds he changed. How many people learned that wealth isn't about luck. It's not about complexity. And it's definitely not about showing off. It's about clarity. Buffett didn't write 100 self-help books. He didn't sell secrets. He lived the example. He built his fortune through timeless habits. And in doing so, he gave us a blueprint, not just for money, but for life. At the core of Buffett's philosophy is one radical idea. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to be consistent. He never claimed to be a genius. He never tried to be trendy. He just showed up every day with the same tools: clear thinking, sound judgment, and unwavering discipline. That combination, over time, beat nearly every hedge fund, every algorithm, every fast-talking expert, and he did it without ever leaving Omaha. His routine is shockingly simple. Wake up early, read, think, reflect. Spend time with honest people. Make a few great decisions a year. Repeat for 70 years. In a world screaming for more, Buffett whispers, less trading, less noise, less ego, more time, more patience, more wisdom. That's not just how he built his portfolio. It's how he built his life. What makes Buffett so powerful is that he refuses to play games. He's not selling illusions. He doesn't pretend to know the future. He simply respects reality. If something is too complex, he skips it. If a deal seems rushed, he walks away. If he doesn't understand it, he admits it. That honesty is rare, and that's why it works. In a world of spin, Buffett deals in truth. Even when it's boring, even when it's slow, even when it means missing out, because he knows truth compounds too. His real genius isn't in finding magic stocks. It's in finding a way of living that keeps him centered, calm in chaos, measured in mania, patient in pressure. That calmness makes him powerful, because most people lose money not from bad math, but from bad emotions. Fear, greed, impatience, envy. Buffett avoids all of them, not by being superhuman, but by designing a life that doesn't invite those emotions. He doesn't need to rush. He doesn't need to compete. He doesn't need to impress. That's freedom, and that's what he's really selling us. So if you want to follow Buffett's path, don't just study his investments, study his principles. Think clearly, act slowly, avoid what you don't understand, stay calm when others panic, trust time more than timing, and value peace more than noise, because the richest life is not the loudest. It's the one lived with clarity, discipline, and purpose. Closing insight. Warren Buffett's story isn't just about how to get rich. It's about how to live richly, not in possessions, but in principles, not in noise, but in peace. He built one of the greatest fortunes in history, and he did it without rushing, without bragging, and without compromising who he was. He reminds us that the path to success isn't hidden in some secret formula. It's in the simple things, done well, done consistently, and done with integrity. Live below your means, invest in yourself, think long-term, surround yourself with honest people, and never forget what truly matters. Because in the end, money is just a tool, but how you earn it and what it allows you to become, that's your legacy. Buffett once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." But maybe that applies to more than just investing. Maybe life itself rewards those who are patient, those who choose wisdom over trends, clarity over chaos, and value over vanity. So ask yourself, do you want quick gains or lasting peace? Do you want to impress or impact? Do you want noise or meaning? If this message gave you clarity, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you don't need to be brilliant. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay steady, stay kind, and stay in the game long enough for the magic of time to do its work. Choose patience. Choose wisdom. Choose a life that's built to last.